This is a story I've been following a little bit because it's just mental. It just sounds like the plot of a movie or something. It's probably going to get made into a movie at some point. Nicholas Rossi, arrested man is missing U.S. fugitive, court rules. So this was a guy who is apparently an American, was about to be charged for a bunch of rapes, faked his death in America, and then fled to Scotland and started a whole new life here. But now he's been caught. But he tried to like deny it and then turned up to hospital like in a wheelchair with like an oxygen mask on, like a mob boss like type fucking deal and all that, man. Like, yeah, he was trying to like lie for ages and say that it wasn't him, but it looks like he's been caught now. A man arrested in a Scottish hospital last year is US fugitive Nicholas Rossi, a court has ruled. The man had claimed to have been the victim of mistaken identity and insisted his name was Arthur Knight, but Edinburgh Sheriff Court heard that his tattoos and fingerprints matched those of Rossi. Authorities in the US are seeking Rossi's extradition over allegations of rape and sexual assault. It is alleged that he faked his own death and fled to Scotland to escape prosecution. He had spent the past year insisting that he was Arthur Knight, an orphan from Ireland who had never been to the US. He claimed that he had been given distinctive tattoos matching those on the arms of Rossi while he was lying unconscious in a Glasgow hospital in an attempt to frame him. Like, that's one of the things that he's claimed, that these tattoos have only just like appeared on his body. But after a 3-day hearing, Sheriff Norman McFadden says, I am ultimately satisfied on the balance of probabilities that Mr. Knight is indeed Nicholas Rossi, the person sought for extradition by the United States. Sheriff McFadden rejected Rossi's claims to have been the victim of mistaken identity as implausible and fanciful, and said his repeated name changes were highly suspicious and consistent with someone who was hiding from someone or something. He will now face an extradition hearing in March when the Scottish courts will decide whether to send him back to the US to stand trial on the allegations against him. Rossi was arrested by Police Scotland last year after staff at the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital recognised his tattoos, images of which had been circulated by Interpol while he was being treated for COVID. Fingerprint expert Lisa Davidson told the court that prints taken from the thing is, one of the things that's kind of weird right now, I don't know if you know about nurses, but they aren't really the type of people that's like, ah, shit, I better quickly check Interpol's most wanted website just in case I see it in any of my patients. I don't know. The chances of that happening, that is a little bit weird. Fingerprint expert Lisa Davidson told the court that prints taken from the man claiming to be Arthur Knight after his arrest were identical to those of Rossi, which were included on a US extradition request and the Interpol Red Notice. So that's his tattoos there, and they seem to match the guy that's over here. But Rossi claimed the fingerprints had been meddled with and taken from him by an NHS worker called Patrick on behalf of David Levitt, a Utah County lawyer. Advocate Deputy Paul Harvey dismissed his claims as entirely outlandish and bizarre. Rossi's accent also changed several times while he was giving evidence. A series of earlier hearings in the case had seen Rossi sack at least 6 lawyers and claim to have been tortured in prison. His wife, Miranda Knight, 41, gave evidence to the court during the hearing and said her husband had given no indication that he was really Nicholas Rossi. That's his wife there. Rossi's marriage certificate was shown to the court, which had been signed under the name Nicholas Brown. Interesting. The court was told on Wednesday that US prosecutors submitted additional extradition requests over an allegation of rape in Salt Lake City and another over an allegation of sexual assault against Rossi. Rossi, who appeared in court in a wheelchair, was already fighting an extradition request by authorities in Utah who allege he raped a 21-year-old woman in the state in 2008. He had previously been convicted of sexually assaulting another woman known as Mary after meeting her online in 2008. She told BBC Scotland that Rossi pinned her against the wall, forcefully kissed and groped her, and masturbated in front of her at a college in Ohio. Lovely. Mary said she hoped Rossi would now face justice on the other allegations against him, adding, he's trying to fool everybody. I'm glad so many people see through it. Who is Nicholas Rossi? Authorities in the US have said that Rossi was also known as Nicholas Alaverdian in the state of Rhode Island, where he was involved in local politics and was a critic of the state's child welfare system, because it seems that he was in the system when he was a child. Rossi told US media in December 2019 that he had late stage non-Hodgkin lymphoma and had weeks to live. Several outlets reported that he had died in February of 2020. Court record basically faked his death so that he could get off the charges. Court records showed that Utah officials were looking for him at the time in connection with an alleged rape. When he was arrested in Glasgow, he was also on the run from authorities in other US states. He used several other aliases, including Nicholas Edward Rossi, Nicholas Alaverdian Rossi, Nick Allen, Nicholas Brown, Arthur Brown, and finally Arthur Knight. The FBI also had a warrant for his arrest on charges of defrauding his foster father by taking out credit cards in his name and running up debts of more than $200,000. This whole thing is mental. He's been living in Scotland for only about a year, but he's like already married to like a woman who is already simping hard for him because no doubt they've like seen each other naked and everything, and she's seen his tattoos. She's seen his tattoos, and I think she knows it's him. She knows it's fucking him, but she's just sort of like trying to lie to the police. I mean, I will say that's a good woman. That's they don't make women like that anymore now, do they? But you know what I mean, right? I'm making jokes and everything. If it turns out it is him, and if he did in fact commit all those rapes, then yeah, fuck him, send him back to America and get him charged. But still, it's just mental because there's other articles and everything as well of like his foster parents and friend that he's had, and the guy is just basically like this giant manipulator. He just lies and manipulates everyone around him. Like apparently his foster parents noticed it in him like really like quite early, that he just lied about everything and would tell like little lies to like influence people into doing shit and all that stuff. Like he was just this extremely fucking manipulative. Like sociopathic people like that. The guy that would just basically like stir the pot for a bit of fucking fun and then lie for his own benefit and all that. And it's just got that fucking wild where he's committed a bunch of sexual assaults, came to Scotland, created a whole new life, and then when he got caught, well, when they suspected it was him, he immediately was turning up because he was in hospital with COVID, he was turning up like the mob bosses with the fucking masks on, the oxygen mask, trying to go, it's not me, but then he was saying that his accent changed like several times in court, like in front of the judge. Like that's quite funny. I'm sorry, but he's kind of fucked up there and all that. But yeah, like this is gonna get a movie made about it one day because the whole thing has been fucking mental. But it looks like he's finally been caught. But the problem is that this case was just to establish whether or not he actually is Nicholas Rossi. Now he has to go up against the extradition trial, which I've got a feeling is going to be pretty televised. So, that's where we're going to find he has to go to court to see whether or not he's actually going to be deported back to America. And given his fucking antics during the identification trial, I've got a feeling that one is going to be a lot more fun.